Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Daily Analysis. In this video, we'll discuss NVIDIA stock price movement for today and try to make an assessment for rest of the week. We'll also take a look at SMCI stock and the CPI data that's gonna be released tomorrow. Now, let's get started. Starting with the daily summary, NVIDIA opened at 134.03. It made a high 135.10. It made a low 132.42 and it closed at 134.91. That is 2.69% up. So another good day for NVIDIA. So NVIDIA continues to maintain its upward momentum. So good news for those who still has NVIDIA shares. As I mentioned yesterday that I would sold out my Nvidia shares around 135. So today I sold out my Nvidia stocks. But it does not mean that Nvidia is going to be down. I have my own targets and goal that I try to follow. So since I achieved 20% profit in last 2 weeks, I sold out my Nvidia stocks. Probably I'm going to rebuy Nvidia if it goes down. Moving on, last 5 days, NVIDIA up 10.92%, last 1 month 10.77%, and last 6 months 148.22%. So NVIDIA got some momentum in last few days, and that's a good sign. Now let's take a look forward PE for NVIDIA, SMCI, Palantir, and AMD and try to make some assessment. So at this point, NVIDIA forward PE is at 49.97, Palantir 86.12, SMCI 28.83 and AMD 53.01. So forward P for Nvidia at this point is much higher than last 6 weeks of average, and that average was 45.32, but it does not mean that Nvidia is overpriced at this point because the overall market is going up. So if you take a look, Palantir, its forward P is also higher than last 6 weeks of average. That is 86.12 at this point. SMCI is also 28.83. I'm guessing it is also higher than last 6 weeks of average. That is 26.04. And AMD also 53, and it looks like it's higher than last 6 weeks of average, and that was 47.76. So at this point, I do not have any NVIDIA and SMCI. I'm trying to find another good buying opportunity for SMCI and NVIDIA. As I told you before that I sold out my SMCI stock yesterday around 9:05. Now let's take a look at stock split analysis. So at this point, NVIDIA is 42.09% from the announcement date. And this is fifth week from the effective date. And if you compare with the last split cycle, week number 5, we had 48.20% up from the announcement date. Looks like at this point it's going in the same direction. 42.09 versus 48.20. We still have 3 more days to go. Now let's take a look technical charts. You see 90-day hourly interval chart for Nvidia on your screen and also the Bollinger Bands. As we noted yesterday and day before yesterday that the gap between the upper band and the lower band is expanding, and that was a signal that Nvidia got the positive momentum and it can carry that momentum based on the Bollinger Band. So it looks like Bollinger Band gave us the right signal yesterday and day before yesterday. You see that the momentum is going up. But the gap between upper band and the lower band is not expanding anymore. You see that from yesterday. It expanded somewhere here, but at this point, it's almost flat, right? So just like this, you see that it went up and then went down. The same thing here, went up and went down. Again, went up and then went down. Went up and then went down. So see the steep curve and then went down. Similar behavior I'm observing on the Bollinger Band at this point. Probably it might go further up, but eventually it should make some correction to follow this pattern, or this pattern. Now let's take a look MACD. So if you take a look MACD chart, as we noted yesterday, that it got positive momentum, but the momentum was not as strong as we observed in the past. For example, here. But the good thing is, still it carries the positive momentum and it may continue to have that momentum tomorrow as well. Tomorrow will depend mostly on the CPI data that's going to be released before market opens. So if CPI data comes higher than the forecast, it may not be a good sign for the market and you will see some drop in the market. On the other hand, if the CPI data comes lower than the forecast or it just matches the forecast, probably market will take it as a positive sign. Let's take a look at the CPI historical data. I made these two tables to capture the historical data for CPI and the core CPI. You see that in the last cycle, the CPI came lower than the forecast, and that was a good sign for the market. In this cycle, the forecast is 3.1%. There is a possibility that CPI may not come lower than the forecast, based on my opinion. In the core CPI, last cycle 3.4% actual versus forecast 3.5%. It came lower than the forecast, and that was a good sign. And you might have observed after getting the CPI data last month, market went up. This time, the forecast 3.4% for the core CPI, and there is a possibility that the core CPI comes lower than the forecast. If that happens, then it will give a mixed picture to the market. So, market can go in either direction after getting this data. And if you notice the overall trend for last 2-3 years, you see CPI went flat after May 2023. It's not showing any big improvement since last 1 year. CPI started going down somewhere around May 2022 when Fed started raising the rates. And same thing with the core CPI. The core CPI in last few months is doing better than the overall CPI. We see that the trend is down in last few months. Hope that overall CPI also goes down. Now let's take a look news regarding Nvidia. You see the news regarding Nvidia and the overall market on your screen. There's some news talking about a stock market bubble similar to the dot-com bubble. So this one, and it refers to the great financial crisis. But I do not think that's going to happen because we are moving towards a rate cut. And when the rate cut happens, the market goes up further. So market these days are going up overall with the anticipation that the rate cut is coming in Q3 or Q4. So another good sign for Nvidia, that is TSMC. So TSMC sales jumped 40% on the AI demand, and that should boost TSMC earnings and the revenue guidance that they're going to release sometime next week. And that should help Nvidia also report a good revenue guidance. So regarding Supermicro, I find something, that is this one, that says Supermicro stock drops after analysts say stop buying until outlook improves. So that's good. I think that kind of makes sense because in the last earnings, SMCI was not able to provide a very good revenue guidance. So let's see what they say in the next earning report. Another one regarding Supermicro, it says that the rally might be ending, the stock is downgraded. So one of the analysts, you see that here, that downgraded Supermicro computer from buy to neutral and kept the price target of 930. And you see that Mr. Paul concluded his speech to the House. He had the testimony today. It looks like he did not mention anything alarming regarding the overall economy. So that's a good sign for the stock market. I guess that's all about important news regarding overall market and Nvidia. Let's take a look at other AI stocks. So it looks like that all of the AI stocks are positive today, with the highest positive change is in SoundHound, that is 22.46%. I had the SoundHound stock, but I sold out early this week. Probably that was not a good decision. The least positive change we see is in Amazon, that is 0.23%, and after hours is going down. So Nvidia kind of lie in the middle, that is 2.69%, and after hours, I see that Nvidia is going up. I guess we should not read too much into after hours trading. So that's all about Nvidia analysis and assessment for today and rest of the week. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.